Not because they're useful, not because they bring you joy, but simply because they've been there for years. You walk past them every day, barely noticing, but still, for some reason, letting them go feels difficult. Over time, it's so easy for clutter to build up. A worn-out armchair in the corner, stacks of papers gathering dust, sentimental items that once meant something, now shoved in the back of drawers. But here's a powerful truth. Before you turn 70, there are certain things you absolutely must clear out. And this process, this act of letting go, isn't just about organizing your home. It's about reclaiming your space, your peace of mind, and the life you want to live going forward. In this video, we'll explore 6 specific types of items that may be weighing you down far more than you realize. You'll understand why they're not just taking up physical space, but emotional and mental energy too. We're not talking about throwing away your memories. We're talking about freeing yourself from things that no longer serve a purpose in your life. Let's begin with the first one. 1. Worn out and unused furniture. One of the most common and heaviest forms of clutter is old furniture that no longer adds value to your life. Over the years, you might have accumulated extra chairs, outdated cabinets, or an oversized table that hasn't seen a full family gathering in ages. These things might have been useful at one point, but now they just sit there, occupying space and energy. And here's what many don't realize. Holding on to furniture that no longer serves a real purpose isn't just about clutter, it's about stress. That bulky recliner that no one uses anymore, that dresser with drawers that never open properly. These things create small daily frustrations that build over time. Think of it this way. The more unnecessary furniture you have, the harder it becomes to move freely around your home. For older adults, this isn't just inconvenient. It can become a safety issue. Tripping hazards, blocked walkways, or simply feeling overwhelmed by the visual noise in your environment. Take Frank, for example. He's 74 and has lived in the same house for more than 40 years. Over time, he collected furniture. Some of it inherited, some gifted, some bought during a different chapter of life. His home once felt warm and inviting, but slowly it started to feel cramped. Cleaning became a chore. Moving from room to room took effort. His living space became less of a home and more of a warehouse. One day, during a visit, his daughter casually pointed out something that struck him. She said, "Dad, why do you have 5 chairs in your living room when you only ever use 2? That small comment was a wake-up call. That evening, Frank decided to do something he had been avoiding for years. He picked a single room and began letting go. The chair with the broken leg? Gone. The oversized coffee table that made the room feel tight and awkward? Out the door. As each item left, something surprising happened. Frank felt lighter, not physically, but emotionally. His living room felt more spacious, more peaceful, and most of all, more livable. And that's the real power of decluttering furniture. When furniture is functional, it supports your daily life. But when it becomes just another object in the way, it drains you. Silently. Slowly. So, if you're holding on to pieces that are no longer used, ask yourself honestly, when was the last time I actually sat here, used this table, opened this drawer? If the answer doesn't come easily, maybe it's time to let it go. Because a house that feels open, easy to clean, and simple to enjoy is far more valuable than any dusty chair or unused side table. 2. Clothes you never wear. Let's move to something more personal. Your wardrobe. At some point, almost all of us are guilty of holding on to clothes we no longer wear. Maybe it's a suit that hasn't fit in years, a dress you wore to a wedding 2 decades ago, or drawers full of t-shirts that have faded into memories. Before you turn 70, it's time to take an honest look at what's hanging in your closet. Because let's face it, a wardrobe full of clothes you never wear isn't helping you. It's weighing you down, both physically and emotionally. Clothes carry stories. That blazer you wore to your first job, the shoes you danced in at a celebration. But they also carry the past. And if your closet reflects who you used to be more than who you are now, something needs to change. Let's meet Linda. She's 72 and had a closet packed with clothes, but she only wore the same few outfits every week. Dresses from the 80s, jackets she hadn't touched in decades, fancy shoes that hurt her feet, and every morning she'd stand in front of that closet feeling overwhelmed by too many choices, yet nothing truly fit her lifestyle. Then, one day, Linda decided enough was enough. She emptied out her entire wardrobe onto her bed and made 3 piles. Clothes she loved and wore often, clothes that didn't fit or were uncomfortable, clothes she was keeping just in case. That 3rd pile was the toughest, but as she sorted through each item, she realized something important. She wasn't losing anything. She was gaining space, clarity, and control. She no longer had to sift through 10 outdated sweaters to find the one she actually liked. And here's the beauty of it. Someone else might need what you no longer do. Instead of letting old clothes gather dust, you could donate them. Give them a second life. Let them bring comfort and confidence to someone else. So open your closet. Look at each item. Ask yourself, does this still serve me? Does it reflect the life I live today? If not, it may be time to say goodbye, because at this stage of life, you deserve a wardrobe that works for you, not one that overwhelms you. 4th, old papers, documents, and unopened mail. Out of all the types of clutter in a home, paper is perhaps the most deceptive. It creeps in slowly. 1 letter, 1 receipt, 1 bill at a time, and before you know it, it's everywhere. Piled on kitchen counters, stuffed into drawers, packed into folders you haven't opened in years. Over time, outdated documents start to take over your space. Expired warranties, old instruction manuals for gadgets you no longer own, tax records from decades ago, stacks of unopened mail. It adds up quietly but powerfully, and before you turn 70, this kind of paper clutter needs to be addressed. Because this isn't just a matter of tidying up, it's about peace of mind. Imagine the frustration of needing one important insurance form only to dig through a mountain of useless papers. Or the guilt that builds every time you walk past a stack of unopened envelopes, feeling like you're constantly falling behind. Take Barbara, for example. At 73, she had an entire filing cabinet filled with papers dating back more than 30 years. Utility bills from the 90s. Receipts from purchases she couldn't even remember. Tax documents from the 1980s. They sat there untouched until one day she needed to find a single current document and realized how overwhelming her paper situation had become. So she decided to face it. 1 drawer at a time, she sorted everything. She kept only what truly mattered: important legal records, current medical documents, and recent financial information. Everything else was shredded, recycled, or tossed. The result? Her paperwork was cut in half, and for the first time in decades, she knew exactly where everything was. That's the power of letting go. You're not just clearing shelves, you're clearing your mind. Thanks to technology, we now have the option to store most important files digitally. You don't need to keep every piece of paper just in case. If it's something you haven't looked at in years, chances are you never will. Here's how to begin. Go through your paperwork with a critical eye. Shred expired bank statements and old contracts, recycle manuals for appliances you no longer own, keep only essential documents, and organize them clearly. And when it comes to mail, don't let it pile up. Toss junk mail immediately. Pay bills and file only what's necessary. If you're subscribed to newsletters or magazines you never read, it may be time to cancel. The goal is simple. Only keep what truly serves a purpose. Let the rest go. 5. Kitchen items you never use. If there's one room in the house where clutter hides in plain sight, it's the kitchen. Cabinets overflowing with mismatched containers, drawers jammed with gadgets you forgot you had, expired spices pushed to the back of the pantry. It's all too common. And as you get older, these unused items don't just take up space. They make daily life harder. Before you turn 70, it's time to simplify your kitchen so it works for you, not against you. Maybe you're holding on to a bread maker you only used once. Or maybe you've got 4 sets of measuring cups, 10 coffee mugs, and 3 vegetable peelers. And those fancy dishes? The ones you're saving for a special occasion? If that occasion hasn't come in years, maybe it's time to reconsider. Take George, for instance. At 76, his kitchen was filled with blenders, food processors, old pots and pans, stacks of unused plates, more than he could ever realistically use. Searching for a simple saucepan meant digging through a mountain of things he hadn't touched in years. One day, after knocking over a pile of baking sheets, he had a moment of clarity. He didn't need more stuff. He needed less. So George took action. He tackled his kitchen one drawer, one cabinet at a time. He asked himself a simple question: do I actually use this? If the answer was no, out it went. Duplicates, gone. Expired food, tossed. Fancy equipment he hadn't touched in years, donated. And the change was immediate. His kitchen became a place of ease, not stress. Cooking was simpler. Cleaning took less time. And for the first time in years, he actually enjoyed being in his kitchen. The truth is, you don't need 100 tools to cook a good meal. You just need the essentials, the items you use regularly and love to reach for. So, take a look around your kitchen today. If something hasn't been used in years, let it go. If it's just collecting dust, it's time to part ways. A decluttered kitchen doesn't just look better, it feels better. It invites you in, it supports your daily rhythm, and it frees up time and space to focus on what really matters, like enjoying your meals and your life. 6. Sentimental items that no longer serve you. Perhaps the most emotionally difficult form of clutter isn't old furniture or expired medication. It's the things that carry memories. Letters from loved ones, gifts from long ago, vacation souvenirs, childhood keepsakes. These are the objects we hold on to, not because they're useful, but because they represent something or someone. But before you turn 70, it's important to ask yourself, are these sentimental items still bringing me joy or just taking up space? It's a painful question. Many people feel guilty even thinking about letting go of objects tied to the past. A birthday card from a parent who's no longer here, a faded drawing from your child's early years, a keepsake from a trip that changed your life. But holding on to everything often means you can't fully enjoy anything. When memories become boxes stacked in a closet, they lose their meaning and become a burden, both physically and emotionally. Take Helen, for example. She's 78 and had held on to dozens of boxes filled with souvenirs, letters, and trinkets from every stage of her life. They sat untouched in a storage unit for years, out of sight, but not out of mind. When it came time to downsize, she felt overwhelmed. How could she part with these pieces of her past? At first, she couldn't imagine letting go of any of it. But then, she had a shift in mindset. She started asking herself what truly mattered. Slowly, she began to choose the memories she wanted to keep, not just store. She held on to her wedding album, a handful of letters from loved ones, a few items that made her heart smile. The rest? She let go. She donated some items to people who could use them. She took photos of others to preserve the memory without keeping the object. And with each box she released, she felt something she hadn't expected. Peace. Because here's what so many people forget. Letting go of an object doesn't mean letting go of the person or the experience. The memory lives in you, not in a dusty old souvenir. So ask yourself, do I need to keep every greeting card to remember who loved me? Do I need to keep every keepsake to honor my past? Or can I choose the most meaningful and let the rest go with gratitude? Decluttering sentimental items isn't about erasing your history. It's about creating space for your present and your future. It's about surrounding yourself with things that bring comfort and clarity, not chaos. Because at this stage in life, the most valuable things aren't the ones collecting dust in boxes. They're the ones that bring you peace, joy, and light every single day. As we wrap up this journey through the 6 categories of clutter, I invite you to take a deep breath and reflect. Decluttering before 70 isn't just a project for your house. It's a gift to yourself. It's a way to lighten your load, simplify your space, and reclaim your energy. Every item you choose to let go of is not a loss. It's a step toward clarity, freedom, and peace of mind. Let's quickly remember what we explored. Old furniture that no longer serves you. Clothes that don't reflect who you are today, expired medications and unused toiletries, piles of paper that only add stress, kitchen items you never use, sentimental objects that no longer bring joy. Ask yourself, which of these are still present in my life? Which ones are ready to be released? You don't have to do it all at once. Start small. 1 drawer, 1 cabinet, 1 box of papers. Let each item you release become a quiet celebration of your new space, your new mindset, and the future you're stepping into. Because a home that feels calm, clean, and aligned with who you are isn't just easier to live in. It's a reflection of the peace you deserve. And if this video gave you something to think about, something meaningful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your presence here makes all the difference, and we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, thank you for watching, and may your space always reflect the beautiful life you're creating. Amen.